Hello, everyone. This is Kwavi. Welcome to another exciting episode of 50 Shades of Over 50. And I have a fabulous guest who is many, many miles away from me. And we're going to have a conversation. And I just want you guys to get ready because this is going to be an exciting and inspiring conversation. So I'd like to welcome Tami Jordan. How are you?
Hi, how are you, Kwavi? So nice to
Oh,
be here.
you too. Yay. And the first question I always ask is, how old are you?
As of last Sunday, I'm 61. You're 60
Yay!
fun. Someone told me go for 60 fun, and I love it.
Yes, love it. Love, love, love that. So tell us a little bit about what you're up to before I start asking you a few questions.
Okay. So yes, I'm Tammy. I right now, for the last 3 months, I have become a well, I guess I'll say a digital nomad, or just a nomad. I
Hmm.
am traveling with no end date, traveling with only one-way tickets. Uh, since November, it's the beginning of March, with
Hmm.
my daughter, my adult daughter, who's 23.
Hmm.
And we are basically setting our life up to just go with our gut instincts, our curiosity, and our notions of what would be interesting or fun. And all of this sort of came about because I had been dreaming of traveling and having that idea of location freedom, as
Hmm.
well as time freedom, because I was working so much in my what is now my old life that I really felt like I needed to, go out and grab this notion of freedom while I still had the energy and the curiosity to take advantage of it.
Great. That's so interesting. So who came up with the idea? Was it you? Was it your daughter? Who came up with this idea of okay, let's just travel and buy one-way tickets?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would say I did. And in fact, my daughter did not want to come with me initially. She kept thinking, that's your crazy idea. Um, and I was really inviting her to come. As I said, she's 23. So her life was with me anyway. And, COVID kind of slowed things down for her process. And just with all that was going on in the world of the United States, and my daughter is part of the LGBTQ community and all that that entails, I was really saying, let's go and experience something different and, kind of get away from the rhetoric that was going on at the time. And I had had the opportunity to travel in my younger years, and I really just wanted to kind of find that that happy place in my mind again. Once upon a time, I thought of myself as a traveler. I called myself a traveler. That was my idea of who I was, and then I became a mom,
Yeah.
and that meant, in my mind, providing security and settling down and staying in one place, and or trying to provide a sense of normalcy for my kiddo.
Mm.
And once high school was over and she started working, it seemed like, well, now it's my time before I become too old to have my time. And it's not that I was thinking a certain age was old. I was just thinking about energy,
Yes, of
and
course.
you need energy to be able to kind of be adventurous, I think. And
Yeah.
because I still felt like, it was all sort of hanging out inside my head and my heart while I was putting all of the taking all of the things that I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I really felt like it was my time. It was my window of opportunity,
Love
and
it.
I just took it. Yeah.
Wow. And so I'd love for you to tell the viewers, where are you currently?
I'm in Thailand.
Mhm.
We started out in Vietnam. We were a month in Vietnam. We've been
Okay.
in Thailand for nearly 2.5 months. Our visa will be expiring in about a week and a half. And
Mhm.
then we're going to Cambodia to go experience Angkor Wat, which is a place that we'd visited when my daughter was 8 years old. So to go back now is like just kind of,
Yay!
having big experiences.
And what made you decide the next stop?
Um, Really, we have been kind of playing it by ear. And I had a friend who was traveling in Japan over the holidays. And so we just started talking about, well, while we're in Southeast Asia, where is there anywhere else we want to go
Yeah,
before we leave this sort of part of the world?
right.
Um, our next big sort of settling down, so to speak, will be India. So before we head down
Nice.
south further, I we just thought, let's go to Angkor Wat. It's basically next door to Thailand. Cambodia is the next country over. So that's kind of how we're playing it.
Wow. This is so exciting. And I'm sure there's some people listening thinking, wow, I'd love to do that. And so for you, one of the questions I have is financially, how are you making this? Are you working while you're there, or you just had savings and you're just kind of using that?
Yes. So I'm a online coach, and
Okay.
that was also a big impetus for taking on this adventure because as I said, I was working before and really it felt like time was often short, right? For anything else other than working.
Yes. Yes.
And so I really wanted to dedicate my time to this coaching business
Yeah.
since COVID. I got certified during COVID. I started watching people and, sort of putting in the time and research. And I just really felt like if I have more time, I can dedicate myself to this business. And of course, it sort of goes hand in hand with the idea of location freedom. You don't need to
Yes.
go to a job every day. So yeah,
Love
that
it.
was the big impetus too. Like, how can I make the money? And actually, I guess I want to say I did start to save up. COVID kind of allowed me to save up because I
Yeah.
was home. And fortunately, I still maintained my job while I was home. So no commute, no bridge tolls, no gas prices.
Yeah.
And I started to save my money, save my stimulus checks. Like, I was like a little squirrel hoarding, hoarding money because this dream, I even in the beginning of the dream, I really had no idea how I was going to do it. And once I decided, it just seemed to, it's cliche to say it just fell into place, but really I realized at some point that I really can make this happen with all of these little savings I was doing. And it just worked out, really. It just worked out.
I love how you said you decided because I'm a coach also. And that's one of the things I normally kind of encourage my clients to do because most times we as individuals were always hesitant to make the decision because and I know one of the reasons is once you make the decision, it's like, okay, now you have to act on it. And so I'm
Yes.
so glad it worked for you, but tell the audience a little bit about who you coach. We'd love to know.
Yeah, I coach coaches. I coach coaches who are in the initial stages of they don't quite have the consistent clients to sort of go over that threshold of I'm going to leave my job. But that's the
Ah,
goal, right? That's the
nice.
goal is to be able to do it full time so you can dedicate yourself to your clients to creating this business, and it does take time
Yes.
and energy. And so for those folks who are straddling both the world of being an employee and wanting to be an entrepreneur, that's the phase of really any new endeavor, but it's pretty challenging. And so those are the folks that I focus on to
Nice.
help them get their mindset, their perspectives into place so they realize that however difficult it may seem in the moment, that they can do it.
Nice. And what I will do for those listening, I'm going to put a link to her different social channels so that you can contact her if you need her help. My next question for you is with regards
Yeah.
to aging, is that something you've always embraced, or was it a struggle? Was it a challenge? I'd love to hear your perspective.
Aging. Aging is such a funny thing. And I swear, because I was an older mom, I
Mhm.
I like to give it credit because I used to say, I'm doing what all the younger moms are doing. I I was in my 40s and maybe I knew moms in their 20s and 30s, and it's like I'm on the floor just like you are. I'm
Oh, excuse
shuttling
me.
my
Mhm.
kid around just like you are. I'm playing with that kid. And in a way, you train yourself to be energetic for your child, to get the things done, to run the errands and make sure the lunches are made, so um I think I think for me, aging, I sort of got a reboot, or a second wind. Um and and I was really happy to be a mom. And I think that as much as we want to give to our kids, I think I understood as I was a single mom. I think I understood I had to take care of myself. I had to prioritize myself too. I remember at some point I told my kid, "You're no longer the center of the universe," And I started to, as my kid began to be able to sort of take care of herself more, I started to do the same. And
Yeah.
yeah, and now I really feel I feel really young at heart, and I know that is such a mindset, a perspective on yourself and on yourself,
Yeah.
vis-a-vis the world. But I met someone the other day and I said, "It's my birthday today." And she asked me how old I was. And she said, "Oh, my mother is a year older." And she said, "But you're strong. You look good." And she says, "My mother's not so strong." And I do think it's how you look at
I
the world.
agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
how you decide what 61 should look like.
Look, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we
yeah,
have the power to redefine whatever that means to us. And I love that. But
exactly.
there's something you said that I think is really important. And I think women can learn from this, where they now realize and let their kids know that, listen, you are no longer the center of the universe. And I
Yep.
think that's important because I think for a lot of women, that is the challenge. And so when the kids leave home, all of a sudden they're like, what about me? It's like the whole identity was wrapped into that. And
Right.
I agree for a time, that's fine. But after a while, you kind of have to separate that and realize that they can keep going and you can keep going as you, as opposed to like that intertwined, form. It's like after a while, they kind of separate. And I think for a lot of women, they don't want to separate. And then when they leave for college and they have lives of their own, they're like, what is happening?
Right, right. And you know what? I because I was a single mom, I actually thought about exactly that scenario. And I said, I don't want
Wow.
to be that empty nester that's like, what do I do? Because, she would go to the dad, and all weekend long, I'm preparing for her to return. I'm buying foods that I know she likes, or I'm cleaning her room. And that was when she was little. And I really said to myself, I don't want to not know myself well enough to
Yeah.
find time for me or to appreciate when I do have free time. I got it really early on, like that
Nice.
is not the way, really, even to benefit her, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And that's so good because we still have a lot to offer the world. And so
Yes.
being able to recognize that ahead of time and know that, you know what, you have like an endless range of possibilities for you to choose from when the kids get
Yes.
older, as
Yeah.
opposed to thinking, okay, my life is over, things are no longer happening. No, no. Like there are so many opportunities available. And I just want more women to realize that because I think it's beneficial to them and to the world at large, you know.
100%, 100%. And, being a coach, and, talking to a lot of women and also coaches who are, working to create their own businesses. I, I keep running into women who it's sometimes it's the employee mentality, but it's also sometimes just finding themselves, realizing who they are, what they want to feel, what they want to do. Like it's all new,
It is
and
very new.
especially, yeah, and especially as we get older, it's like
Yes.
it's like this is, like I said, the window of opportunity. It's like, who am I and what do I want? And because I think, because getting to a certain age, you really do tap into the wisdom
Oh
of,
my word.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, of who am I, what do I want, what power do I still possess,
Yes.
and if I don't feel powerful, how do I get it? Because
Yes.
I think we are wise,
Oh
just
my goodness.
innately.
Yes. Yes. I agree.
Eh,
Totally
yeah,
agree.
yeah,
And
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 to
I
tap
think it,
into that.
yeah. One of the things you said that I think is also really important is getting to know who you are. And I think that sometimes the different labels that we place on ourselves,
Yes,
sometimes uh, sometimes make us forget that, whether it's mom, your job role, or if you're married, being a spouse, all those roles,
yes,
sometimes we hold on to them so tightly, forgetting that underneath all those labels, we are who we are. Like we are this powerful being that can do
right.
amazing things that benefit us. And it's not in
Yes,
a bad way. It's just that when we show up as ourselves, it's just amazing. It's like what we
right.
can create from that place
Yes.
is unbelievable. And I think sometimes we forget that. Like I've worked with women who like you, probably because most times with coaches, most people don't just come out of college and say they want to be a coach. Most times they've done something else prior. And so being able to let go of that other identity and shift into this new identity can be challenging. And so,
Yes.
so I'm thankful that you're doing that type of work because I think it's so necessary, you know.
Yes. Yes. And exactly. It can be really challenging, to trust yourself if you've never really had to. It can be
Yes.
challenging to know, what you're feeling, even you have these emotions, but you've been such a caretaker to others that sometimes you have forgotten, well, this actually isn't fear, it's excitement, or whatever it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. And digging deeper to find, what your heart is asking you for, what your mind will allow you to see and experience, and also translate, because sometimes we think we understand something, and it's like, well, maybe that's not the only
Yeah.
perspective. And so, yeah, I think it's just really fascinating to watch people transform,
Yeah.
at this age, or somewhere in the age where they feel like, I thought I was this, but actually I can be more. So that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, and for those listening, listen, this applies to anyone. We all go through that stage where we're beginning to redefine who we are. And it's almost like we're shedding the past layers and kind of emerging as a new person. And, it can be like trying and, and challenging and trying, but also it can be so exciting. And
Yes.
there might be people around you that might not be comfortable with this new change. And that's part of the process. So if you're going through that, believe
Yes.
me, that is part of the process.
Right. Right. And
you
hopefully
know,
those people around you are open-minded enough to watch you change and kind of support
yeah,
you and cheer you on. And I've
yeah.
experienced that a lot. First, when I first started telling people I was going to take this trip, there are those that were like, why? And, but but it's funny now, we are 3 months in, and all I get is support online
That's
from my
it.
friends all
That's
over. And it's
it.
it's it's really helpful to feel that support, but also to be inspiring
Yes,
to others.
that's it.
Yeah. Be-
And see, this shows that if you have that kind of desire, keep going. Not everyone's going to be on board in the beginning, possibly, but when you
Right.
stick with it, then other people are like, oh wow, and you can be an inspiration. Like your story is very inspiring. So there's some women listening, like, I've been thinking about kind of doing a travel thing, just kind of just taking off and just doing an adventure like that. So you just never know who you'll inspire
Yes.
with your
That
story.
that's right. That's right. And I still feel like I feel like I'm pretty adventurous, but I really have said to myself, like, I'm ready to find the self that I know has yet to come out.
Oh my
You
word,
know,
I love that.
yeah, yeah, because I do. I feel like there's more coming, and this is the year. I don't know why this is the year, but catch me in a year and see who I don't know what's coming, but it's gonna be bigger. So
Oh, I might need to get you on for a part two. Love it. Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you so much, Tami, for spending this time with us here. And I'm sure there are people listening saying, wow, that's so inspiring. And if you need more information, I'm going to, like I said earlier, I'll leave the links. You can reach out to her directly.
Yes.
And I just want to thank you all for listening. And Tami, thank you once again. And I
Bobby, thank
look
you.
You're welcome. And I look forward to seeing all of you next week on another episode of 50 Shades of Over 50. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching an episode of 50 Shades of Over 50. I invite you to join our online community called Flourish, a community created exclusively for women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. A place where you'll get to pursue your passion and live your purpose with other like-minded women. If you're not sure what your purpose or passion is, not to worry. I share tools to help you with that. Flourish is the best place to learn, grow, and have fun if you're in your 50s and beyond. Go to www.kwavi.tv/flourish to learn more.